Bottom of the World is directed by Richard Sears and stars Jena Malone, Ted Levine and Douglas Smith, and is about... That's a good point, actually. What is this movie about? I'm not gonna lie, guys. I think this might be the worst movie I've seen so far this year. No joke. It's honestly really bad, which is a shame, because I went into it expecting something a lot better than what I initially got. Because I am a pretty big fan of Jena Malone. I think she is a very good actress in certain films like Donnie Darko or The Neon Demon, and the premise seemed very interesting. But unfortunately, everything just falls flat because this movie is really bad. Now, one thing I will say is that the only redeemable aspect of this movie is the cinematography. And to be honest, it's not even that great. It's only okay. But to be honest, compared to everything else in this movie, the cinematography is the only thing every so often in the movie that I can go, yeah, that's not bad. The rest of it, on the other hand, is pretty dire. The two main characters in this movie, played by Douglas Smith and Jena Malone, are two completely different ends of the spectrum when it comes to bad acting. Jena Malone, like I said, is an actress I really like, but in this movie, she does that whole, oh, I'm so acting right now kind of thing, and it's very obvious whenever she is, you know, putting an emotion on or acting in a scene, which was very weird to see, seeing how good usually she is in other movies. So, yeah, she just seems that it was very obvious that she was acting in this movie. Yet again, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum with Douglas Smith, he looks like he's not even trying. He looks bored shitless the entire time and just gives this one blank expression throughout the entire film. Honest to God, there are some moments in the movie where it got so annoying that his face wasn't doing any expressions, especially for really tense scenes where he's supposed to be scared, but he just has that same blank expression on his face, and it really pissed me off because he wasn't even trying. Honestly, there is one scene in particular where this character is on the phone to this mysterious creepy guy who has supposedly captured his girlfriend, and he just does not express his face whatsoever. Hello? Who are you? Where's Scarlett? What have you done with her? Hello? 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 And in a scene like that, you would be scared. I mean, your girlfriend's been kidnapped, for fuck's sake. Show some emotion. The plot in this movie is a mess. It's really confusing, and as soon as it starts to get a little bit clearer, they just confuse the fuck out of you again. And honestly, none of it makes any sense, and this is mostly due to the way this movie is directed. Because as well as having a plot that doesn't quite make a whole lot of sense in the long run, you have a director who's trying to do as many styles as possible in one movie. And what I mean by that is that there is no distinct style or feel to this movie. It just feels like a huge pot of different ideas and styles that really don't work because they're so contrasting. For example, at the start of the movie, you can see the directors trying to do a kind of Nicholas Winding Refn style of movie, but then there are parts of the movie that completely contradict it, and instead he's going for a more David Lynch surreal kind of movie. Honestly, the themes and the style of this movie and the feel is just so inconsistent that it does get quite annoying after a while. The best way I can describe Bottom of the World is that it feels like a YouTube short film that's outstayed its welcome. There are a lot of camera movements, and the overall feel of the movie does play out like a YouTube short film or something you'd see on this platform, and not like an actual movie. Also, one thing that surprised me is how bored this movie made me feel, which is surprising because the runtime of the movie is only something like an hour and 23 minutes. So for a movie that short to bore the fuck out of me is pretty surprising. As you can tell, I really don't like this movie. It's easily the worst thing I've seen so far this year, and I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. If you want to check it out, it's available to watch on Netflix and other streaming services like Amazon Prime and stuff like that. But if I were you, I'd give it a miss. So guys, that was my review of Bottom of the World. Something quite funny I found out when trying to find some reviews on YouTube of this movie. There aren't any. I think I'm literally the first ever person on YouTube to review this movie. And that just goes to show how bad of a movie it is. If you enjoyed the video, then give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!